Yeah.
We're good. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight's Recovery Warrior Talk. I appreciate you guys. I know we got a lot of events going on right now. I think I hear rain. So good. I have a couple of announcements before I introduce our speaker tonight. Lighthouse worship is on Sundays at 9 a.m. All Tribes Fellowship worship is at 11 a.m. on Sunday. Just a reminder for the Christ Fest tomorrow is from 11 a.m. 11 to 2 p.m. And that is going to be at the Wagner High School Theater. I read that as the Wagner Theater. So please don't make that mistake like I did, because I would have been at the theater by myself. So again, that's at the Wagner High School from 11 to 2. There will be live music, an encouraging message, giveaway, and everyone's favorite free food. So everyone's welcome. And to follow, Sunday on the 16th, 9 a.m. will be the worship here at the Lighthouse. And also on Sunday, we will have worship at 7 in the evening, 7 p.m. So John Ward will be here he is here, and he'll have worship on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Also, Chunku Techa has NA meetings Monday at 2 p.m. And we also have Inipi every Tuesday at 8:30. Lighthouse here provides NA prayer group that is Thursday at 7, and Recovery Warrior on Fridays. Oh, wait, there's one more. Bible study. On Tuesdays, there is a Bible study at 7 p.m. and all are welcome. So I always have to get those out in the beginning because I forget. I talk too much. So tonight I want to thank you all. I know it's busy. The weather's getting nice. We've got a lot of things going on. I want to thank you for tuning in with us. Tonight we have Robert FlyingHawk in the house tonight, live. Well, very appreciated. Excited to hear his story. Those of us who are Ihangtawan, we know who he is, but those are followers who don't, near and far. He is the tribal chairman for the Yankton Sioux tribe. So it's glad to have you, Chairman. Very excited to hear your story. And you can share with us from darkness to light and your thoughts on addiction.
Okay, thank you, Wopida Chicha. I say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I was just discussing some things that were happening with me in my life and regarding one of my children and the strength of prayer, re-strengthening it, re-believing in it, and knowing that it is real and that it does help. And we as a people are, that's our foundation. That's our strength.
Yes.
I am a 30-year drunk. I call it, describe it, and share that information. I started at 20 years old. Can of beer took me, maybe an hour and a half to drink one can of beer. But once I drank that, then I was on my way. By 22, 23 years old, I could say I was a full certified alcoholic. And that created so many hurdles, barriers, challenges, the jobs, the jail, the hospital, the divorce, the hardship on my children, and it just tried to remember and I ended at 50. When I was 50 years old, I said, I'm not going to do this anymore. And, I cried. I was in my house, the house that I live in now. And there's so many memories in that house. And so there were tears and I cried and I said, I'm going to not drink anymore. And I'm here I am today. 21 years later, I'm still haven't taken a drink. And so it's trying to understand that for myself. We as a people are challenged with so many things, and
Yes.
I've come to believe now that we live in two worlds, and as I looked at myself and trying to understand why I took that drink, it was I look at movies. You see the movies, you see people drinking, and then at home in my home, cousins, brothers, relatives, our community. The alcohol was there. The my barrier was alcohol. I did use and abuse the marijuana, but I didn't stay on that very long. I went back to alcohol. So alcohol was my the demon, I guess I could call it,
Mm.
and teachings that I'd heard growing up. Said that's the bad in that bottle. Well, Constichuk Ed Ud, or that devil is in that bottle, and so I would hear that all the time, and but still in one ear, out the other ear, and yeah, okay. And at the end of my time bout with the alcohol, it was a pint of 100 proof vodka every 8 hours, and I had to have it. I went out and used my energy, hustled a nickel, dime, dollar, whatever I could get to make sure I had a pint
Mhm.
within that 8 hours. And I would shake, I'd get the tremors, and I'd reach over and grab my bottle and take a shot, and those would go away. So in the early years, I was out of control. It controlled me, and the blackouts, not knowing what I was doing, where I was at. I know I was driving a car. I was in Pickstown, and I remember being there in Pickstown at one of the lookouts there along the lake, and then the next thing I knew, I was sitting in the ditch south
Oh, no.
right of Lake Andes, and I had no idea, no memory of coming from Pickstown and going to Lake Andes and being in that ditch. So that was those things that it was could have hurt myself, could have hurt others, and all of those could haves that might have happened, but oh, I survived them. I came through them, and I try to think of how did that happen, and also with the amount that I drank those 30 years, the body uh, didn't get damaged. The liver,
Mm.
the back. I feel the back, and I remember sliding down some steps and just and so I think about those times and say, well, gee, that's probably why my spine is messed up, and from time to time I feel a pinch or probably a nerve, but
Mm.
it did damage to my body in that way. But
Yeah.
fortunate that we I didn't have any body organs that were damaged, and have been in the hospital uh, for checkups, and the medical people say that those things are damaged, the liver, the kidney, the whatever else the alcohol could affect,
Yeah.
and I'm very fortunate and very thankful that I'm able to be here today
Yes.
and trying to figure out how I got started and how we as a people get started. And I have come to believe that our generations, the generations we come from, my mom, my dad, grandpa, grandma, the generations before us did not have this. What I was hooked on, the alcohol, and it was strange to the body as we took it to our body, and we a lot of us couldn't handle it. I know I couldn't handle it, and looking at it now, I say, well, it's there, it's legal, it can be used, but then I hate saying that because I do share that, and then that's almost like an open door to say, well, okay, it can be used,
Yeah.
but it can also get a hold of us and use us,
Yes.
and that's the fine line there. That as we live today in these two worlds, thinking about those generations that we come from and the strength that they had, as I was sharing in the beginning, that prayer and calling on Creator and knowing that there's a power there that is our foundation, and
Yes.
we know that we feel the power of that Creator from the ground up through to the stars and beyond, and everything in between there, the animals, the insects, the plants, the trees. You probably think, well, he must have drank a pint before he came over here.
Talking like that,
That's
he must have had it.
that's strange. It's probably too wild,
Yeah.
but I am 71 years old, and I I've experienced these things, and I believe what I believe now, and it's looking at our two worlds, our world that we have, that's ours, and our non-native world, and the mentality of the non-native world. And it's almost as though, we look at history and that our memories were trying to be taken away from us. Cut your hair, come to this school, wear this uniform, do this and do that, and don't talk your language, don't believe in what you believe. And so it was trying to erase our memory, but that has not happened. We are still here with our memories and those teachings that are there, those feelings that are there. And to describe feelings, I think about for us our national anthem and how that was developed, how the words were written, how the song was sung, and to hear that drum and the feeling that I have as I hear that, and as we go through our lives, we have music, and that feeling that the music has, and what it does to us.
Yeah.
That's what I understand about uh, how we feel, and so easy to get distracted and not be focused, and our blood, our DNA had people that went and sacrificed themselves on a tree, sat on a hill, and uh, if they weren't chased away, then there was something that happened with them. There was something given to them that uh, we were able to use, and I always heard the story of us here when someone lost their life down here in the river, and the search parties were unable to find them. They were out there, all kinds of boats, people, and so the family of the person that had passed away and asked if this person that was sitting on the hill that received whatever it was that he received to come down and help. And that person came and pointed, gave direction to where the body was at. It was the body was within some tree limbs there,
Oh, wow.
and why didn't all of the people searching find that? And it's hard to believe. It's coincidence.
Yeah.
It's maybe that person took that person's life and put him there. Those are the questions. Those are the doubts that we have, the mistrust that we have,
Mhm.
and where do those come from? And it's my belief that, in our way, in our life way, we trust and we have this belief. We have this stone and this stick that when it's put together and the smoke that comes from that goes to the creator, to the power that we believe in, and that's the prayer that we have, and it's what we believe in. It's so powerful for us, and it's ours. It's in our blood, and yet we sometimes seem to not really understand the similarity. I share the story of our ancestors, two of them standing there with their pipe, each of them having their pipe, and the non-native man comes and running from a distance and gets to them. He's out of breath, he's perspiring, and says to the two ancestors with their pipes that put that pipe down and take this book. And so the relatives standing there looked at each other, and one of them said to the other, "We probably should do that. He looks like he might have a heart attack." And so they did. And the man, they took the book, and the man said, "It saved a savage." And so I think about that story, and I share it from time to time. And we are an understanding people. We have that feeling, and we care and want to support and encourage and lift up and hold each other dearly. The children, our word is tehida. They're precious, and we hold them so close to us, and the joy that they give to us,
Yeah.
and so it's in the words that we have, it's in our language that we have, and that thought of that memory trying to be taken from us is, we hear the words assimilation, learned behavior conditioning. I always think of, as I was in school, they said the scientist taught a canine, the dog, how to salivate by ringing a bell, and that was conditioning. That was a learned behavior, and so
Mhm.
that seems to be uh, what this new world, this other world that we're living in, seems to try to do. And again, it's bold to come out and say that, but you know, uh, I'm glad to be here, and I'm not sure who the audience is, who's listening, and they might say, "Well, gee, that's a little radical." I don't believe it's radical. I was asked to address the legislators, and before I did that, some of the senators and legislators came to the tribal hall and had a meeting, and asked the question, what are you going to talk about? We don't want you to get too radical, and and that's where I just made that statement. Now maybe I am too radical, but I don't believe I am. I believe I'm sharing the thoughts
Yes.
that I have, the things that I have experienced and lived, and so as I shared the stories, I was going to share the usual things, and I did. Our education, our health, our economy, our welfare, but the legislators already know that. We live right here within this state, and we always have those challenges. And so I thought, well, I'm going to share the stories that I was told, that all of us have been told,
Mhm.
and that we learn by. And it was shared the story of the man who did something crazy, foolish, and like I had did within my 30 years of being a drunk, and this man was told by an older man, an elder man, said, "Here's 3 marbles," and so the man who was doing foolish things, looking for help, came to the elder, and so he looked at this elder. He said, "I came here for help. And you're giving me 3 marbles," and the elder said, "Yes, I want you to keep those. Hang on to those. Don't throw them away or lose them. Hang on to them." But he said, "If you do something foolish again, and that's really out of character, take 1 marble and throw it away." And so you've got 2 of them left. And so he went on and he shared. I'm sure you're saying, "Well, I know what the end of the story is," but he did, you know, something foolish again and threw away the second one, and uh, had the one left. So he was trying his best, but something happened again, and so he had to throw away the last one. And so the elder gentleman said, "You know what happened now?" And the guy that was being taught with this story said, "No, I don't know what happened." And they said, "Well, you just lost all your marbles." And, and, and the legislators, as you did, had a chuckle, a laugh. And for me, as I heard it, it, I didn't react with that laugh. I said, what was that?" And as I shared it, with my intent with the legislators was to let them know, and to have them think about this.
Mhm.
Maybe they would think about it as something humorous, as a joke, but in the time that we have together living within our communities and within this state, within this country, have they thrown away that last marble? And that was what the story that I
Yes.
was trying to portray, and I think that elder that gave it to this young man who was doing foolish things, uh, had to understand that. And as I think about it, the stories that I heard, the main ones are Ikto, the trickster.
Yes.
Ikto's always scheming, planning, of how do I get this for me, and what can I to get that for me. As he was going down the road, I think most of these stories are in the books now, but seeing, it was by a lake, and out in the lake there was ducks and geese, and Ikto was hungry. The trickster is hungry, so right away, what can I do? And So he said, "Well, I'm going to put up my teepee and have a celebration, a powwow." So that's what he did. He called the ducks and the geese over. "That's your Hiopo, sheep that we're going to dance and come on over." So the ducks and the geese looked at each other. "That's Ikto. That's the trickster, you know." So I don't know. We shouldn't do that, but still, that feeling again of having the powwow, having that celebration was strong. So they wanted to dance. They wanted again a part of our life way, our understanding of what gives us uh, joy, and so they said, "Okay, we'll do this." So they came over, and sure enough, Ikto was had the pot going in the teepee, and he said, "Before you come in, close your eyes." And so they did, each one of them. So each time they came in, they hit him over the head and threw a couple of them in the pot and was saving the rest. And then one of them finally opened his eyes just before he was going to get hit. And he said, "Huntapo Niktepta, look out, he's going to kill you." And so they all flew away, took off. But, those are the stories. And I still think and remember that story and all of the others.
Mhm.
And what did they mean? How do I apply that to my life? How do we as a people apply these things to our lives so that because they're there for guides
Yes.
to help us. We go down the highway. We know we stay on the right side. We can go on that left side to pass, but our main lane is that side where most of the cars go, and if we go to pass, then sometimes we're okay. We go too far to the other side, we go into the ditch. So we stay on this path. This is the path that we have. And those are the stories that I believe uh, that were told to us to help guide us, to help us stay on this path, and to know that these are the things that we need to do. And those stories were used in that manner. I thought about our legislators and saying, "Well, okay, that's okay," and so afterwards I said, "Well, I was just trying to use the topic of to understand the
Mhm.
misunderstanding,
Yes.
and that's all I was saying. There was nothing complicated. It was real basic and simple, and." I think about us now in the job that I have and our leadership, our committee of nine, and thinking about our big meeting. We give it the meeting label General Council, and what's it for? We have a goal where we have the meeting, and it's thinking about it. Let's keep it simple. Let's,
Mm.
we want to make something happen, and then we ask our citizens, our members, for an opinion, for a thought, a yes or a no, and we should just keep it as that. But we get together in our meeting and they say, "Well, we should do this because this is going to happen," and we start doing these things that is that uh, canine salivating at the sound of a bell. Uh, we're still being manipulated, controlled.
Yeah.
Uh, I think,
Emotionally.
yeah, I think that there was some study done of hostages in certain instances after they were with the people that took them for so long that they just did everything that person holding them did, and there was a name for it, some kind of a syndrome. But that's what I think about when I think of us as a people. And America is great. get close to that, what I say is maga, we spell maga, M-A-G-A, I think, but it's that duck and that goose out in that water, wanting to powwow and have that good feeling of dancing and enjoying the fellowship and the socialization and it just we have to understand that as a people we're a simple people, but yet uh, a people with great thoughts because of the life way that we have, and I just get up every day and say thank you, to this power, this creator,
Yes.
and I didn't know why that came to me, but growing up, my mom, my dad, as they got up in the morning, went outside, and of course, we didn't have inside uh, bathroom, so I said, "Well, they're going out to use the outhouse," and but I asked mom at one point, and she said, "Well, go out to say thank you as, as the daylight is coming," and it's it I just heard it. I didn't digest it or do anything with it, but it was there.
Mhm.
And to go out at the beginning of the day and to say thank you uh, for this new day that's coming. And as I listen to our relatives, one of them was sharing his thoughts about this 4 day, 4 night uh, experience. And as he got up and was facing that last day, he said, what am I supposed to do now? What can I do?" And the thought came to him was to say he had this experience in boarding school where this person within that school had used a paddle to discipline and was went a little bit beyond what he should have done and just you think about domestic abuse, I guess, and it was similar to that. But as he got up and said, "What am I supposed to do?" and this feeling came over him, this thought came over him, so he went from that place and went to this individual that had done these abuses to him with trying to discipline him, and he said, I forgive you." And then he left, and we are told in our lives that we say wapachta, a bundle, wapachta kamazi iunkumpi. We carry this bundle, and I'd hear it, and I uh, didn't really quite understand what it was that they were telling me, but it it came to me through my older brother. There was certain things that happened within our family, and my brother next to me had taken his life, and I blamed and said, "Oh, geez, that's why'd that happen?" And so that's what I was carrying. And my brother said, "Well, geez, that happened years ago. What are you doing having those thoughts and thinking that way and carrying that weight?" And so I said, "Okay, there wasn't anything physical that I was carrying, but in my mind, in my soul, in my whole being, I let that go." And the feeling that I had was so good.
Mm.
And it, in the two worlds, I'm speaking about our cultural traditional, but again. I attend the church by the casino, and
Cedar Church.
my grandfather Paul. I have a book from the early 1900s where it was a men's organization, and all of my dad's name is in there, my uncle's, and then of course grandpa, and then all of the males that were within that church had their meetings, their organization. They called it YMCA, and I'm sure for trying to find a name for it, but Koskanaka or Kodakichia is how they wrote it, but in the English it was YMCA. And so that changed to understand that living in this world, we were going to maintain that and keep that strength, that belief, and that faith, and yet knowing that from 1492, this force was coming across the lands, and in order to live, there had to be some adjustments, some changes, and so they understood that, and as it's in that story of the two men with the pipe and the man with the book, that was similar to what had happened, and they understood the need to as they stand up on this floor. This floor is solid, and that's what we stand on. It's our foundation, and that's what they knew, that they had to continue and had to keep going, and so they said this was this other world that's going to be a part of us, and and we're going to take that and use that and transition to it. It's not going to take everything away from us, because the beliefs that our ancestors had, the practices were very similar, and it was just making that having that understanding of how we continue to live and why we're going to continue to live, and it's just using it as we overindulge on our drink, on our substance, on whatever it is that we take to our body that abuses us, our body and our mind, and then from there it affects our family, our children, and I feel bad about what I did for those 30 years to my kids, but there's nothing I can do. All I can tell them is that right now, from this day forward, I am not doing that. I'm not abusing or having that substance abuse me, and I'm trying to reach out to you and help and support and lift you up and give
Yes.
you guidance and direction, and we can only go forward from here in a strong way, in a positive way, and be uh, that way for our family,
Our community.
our community, our uh, trying to share that with the community as a whole.
Yes.
So uh, I'm running out of breath. Yeah, so-
You're okay. You take a break. Oh, such beautiful stories from, I'm just sitting here in awe that I get to even experience this or share stories or have this moment. Um, it's a humbling feeling to sit down with somebody with experience like that from way back then, and then to hear those stories and then apply those stories into our life. So, um, when Robert was talking about the 3 marbles, when he was telling that story, I pictured myself, and we make mistakes, sometimes intentionally and sometimes not, and then you just lose a marble. And then if we don't have somebody helping us with experience or knowledge of correcting that mistake, we're going to lose another marble down the way, and so um and to me, it was kinda like the person at the end was, when they were like, "Well, you lost your marbles." I mean, to me, that was a judgment, comment towards that individual back in the day because I don't think they really meant to, bottom line, people make mistakes, and without experience, knowledge, we're not gonna learn from them, like, somebody has to sit us down and share these types of stories to help open the eyes of others and spread hope into the community, but these stories, they apply to everyone. I mean, and it's humbling. It's very good to have this to be able to sit here, so, yes.
So that is thank you for that. But I'm just really didn't know what to prepare for as you invited me to be to share some thoughts and didn't really think about what I could share. But as we started, this is me. This
Yeah.
is who I am, and I'm being that 30 year drunk, I'm crawling around the ground, and so
Mm,
I think of the word balance, and
yes.
I don't want to get too big headed. So I think about that 30 years of crawling around on that ground, and so I don't get too out of balance.
Mm,
And for us in our teachings, again, we hear of the red road,
mm,
and we're walking on that road. Sometimes we go a little to one side or the other,
yeah.
but we at least for myself, I like that word balance, and that helps us. Again, talking about the going down the highway here, just in the things that we do in our lives, we listen. We're patient. We're not uh, uh, impulsive. We don't just react.
Right.
But we give it some thought, and we allow others to share their thoughts, and we try to show that. And in today's world, living in these two worlds, it's hard to it seems like there's no one listening, no one making that observation of what that behavior is, and they could say, well, could care less, how you behave. I'm here, I'm talking, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and but yet that again is not who we are, in
Mm,
my opinion,
yep.
and we need to keep that balance. We need to show that to each other, and especially to our children that are watching us. They're learning from us,
And they're always watching.
and
They're so
yes,
smart. They're always watching and
and
listening.
yeah, and whatever they do as adults is what they seen me do,
Reflects, right?
and it's hard to be aware of that, and oh, or we just forget about it. And maybe a part of that trickster is there,
Mm,
and I look at that story of the Iktu, the trickster, as being energy.
mm,
I think of the light as energy. There is energy from that light, and then it gives us light so that we can see,
amen.
and gives us direction, and
Guidance.
also in the darkness and the shadow, there's energy there, and that's always growing up. I was always told, the Wakashichika, only Banijipa. The devil's always poking you. Come over here. It's good over here. Get over here.
Mhm.
But that's that balance again. what what we should follow, what we should do, and again that temptation that's there to do something other than what we've been taught and what we know. I guess the morals are of our sense of right and wrong, and
Yes.
we don't really understand them, or I think they're there, but like me, being told by mom, by my relatives, don't drink anymore. You're drinking too much. And yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but I wasn't listening to them. I was just hearing it and
Yeah.
probably not even hearing it, just ignoring them.
Yeah.
And I got into 30 years of just nothingness. And then, went to the church and grew up in that church for 19 years, did the things that I should have done, and remember the stories there that, as the tribe was in captivity, and the man went over and presented problems to this leader, and there was insects, there was water pollution, and so that king, that leader, finally said, "Okay, you can go." And so as they were leading them out, the king thought about it because at least what as a king, as a leader, said, "Oh, geez, what did I do?" And then he started to chase them, and so they came. The people, the captives, coming to this water. It opened, and they went across, and then they escaped. They were free, and were looking for this land that was they were told about and were promised, and the leader went to get these 10 guides, these 10 dues that was uh, uh, on some rock, and as he was up there, the people forgot about what they were doing in captivity, being whipped, being abused, and then all of those plagues that happened, and that water partying so that they could escape. All of that went away. It was there, but it 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 wasn't important anymore because, well, I'm free now, and where's our leader? He's gone. He's up on the mountain, and so let's have our own uh, symbol. And
Mm.
so they made the symbol out of gold, and started to say, worship that, pray to that,
Mm.
and so again, the similarities of our teachings with those stories, with how to live our lives. It's within that book also, and I wanted to share the story as I go to these meetings within our church. They're called Presbytery meetings, and um, we went to one in Montana. We have 23 churches in 5 states, and they were started right here in our area in the Waukopamani, the Greenwood area, and Williamson and Briggs, the missionaries started that Protestant movement, that Presbyterian movement, but as we went to these, we go North Dakota, Montana, Minnesota, but we went to this, and this Assiniboine elder, we got done with our meeting, and he was sitting in the church in the pew, and started visiting with him, and he told me this story about this uh, couple. They got together, and they got married, and his wife was expecting a child, but all of this time he would tell his wife, "You stay right here. I'm leaving. I'm going to come back, but don't follow me. So she listened, and he'd come back and he'd have food and things for them to eat and provided for them. But she got curious at one point, and she was getting ready to give birth, and she followed him as he went around this rock, this huge rock, and as he peeked around, he became a snake, and he started crawling away, and so she went back to her parents and said, "This is what happened. I don't want to go back there." And so she gave birth, but she gave birth to baby snakes, and then of course the parents, you know, placed her to rest, and then each year after that they'd go out to where they put her to rest, and there'd be a bunch of snakes on her resting place, and so that was a story that this Assiniboine man told me, and then I think about as this tribe escaped captivity, and within that the stories was this man who walked on water. So I said, what do I believe? Do I believe that? Do I believe this lady had snakes for babies? Do I believe this man walked on water? And and that's where I think all of us need to get to, or we eventually get to that point. Uh, I think the term might be crossroads, and we just find that for ourselves. And for me, it was uh, OD, and I overdosed. I was hallucinating on that 100 proof vodka, and hearing the voices. People were talking to me. Everything I looked at was a person, and there wasn't anybody there. But that in my hallucinatory state, that's what I seen, and I could hear it. And so I went uh, to Ininipi, went in that evening to ceremony. And within that ceremony, as we were sitting in the room, I was, each of us were up against the wall. I was sitting against the wall. I felt these hands touching me all over my head, legs, and then they were on my back. So I pushed back further against the wall, and, and those hands were still there. It was like I'm sitting now. The hands were just free to touch all over my back, and so my crossroads was there. Do I believe those hands are on my back, or am I still hallucinating?
Mm.
And I chose to believe that they were on my back, and that
Amen.
there is creator there that's there to help. And he did help me.
Amen.
And I'm here out of breath again. Yeah. So,
Oh, yes, we can take some questions.
So we have Jerry that's asking, do you think we picked up too many ways of the Western mindset? Just like the Western mindset, because I feel we looked at many of our traditional ways. When we were small, and listening made us learn to discern the right choices. So, question: do you think we picked up too many Western cultural ways?
okay, so Zena's not going to answer that one, right? My thought, my feeling on that is, as I started, you know, what I call mainstream society was in 1492 as the ships landed, and this movement started moving across the country, and that statement about trying to take our memory, trying to erase our memory, was a way of being saying, "Be like me, and cut your hair, put this bow tie on." But it's up to us. We allow that or we don't allow it. And we just have to come to those crossroads and follow what it is that we are going to be able to live with and use as our strength, as our foundation that we can stand on and live our lives with others and have an understanding as we feel the energy from the ground and everything in between to the stars and beyond the stars. That's our understanding, and we're never going to lose that. And we use that understanding to meet this tide that's coming across our land, that came across our land, and had that, I believe, that intent. But yeah, so I don't know if that's an answer, but
Yeah,
yeah.
that's good. One more.
No.
Okay. I don't even, let me see here. Oh, geez, it's already 9 o'clock. I'm still in awe on some of this. Just thank you, Robert, for all of this. I guess I would just ask a question, your advice or maybe some words from you for those who are suffering, like literally today, you know, even with you may not know about, methamphetamine and though the darkness that carries as well as the alcoholism, but what words could you share for somebody in that situation currently right now? Our viewers, there's a lot of shame. Sometimes some people won't come here. They do watch, and that's kind of why this was created so that we could reach them where they are and share light. But what are what are some kind words from you that you would share with our community who suffers the portion of our community?
Yeah, the first response is that I feel for all of us who have been there and who are in there now with this being controlled by whatever it is that we're being controlled by, abusing us, and it's I look to prayer. I pray every day, and I'll include all of us in that
Yeah.
prayer. And it's darkness that we're in. As I was in my alcohol, the what depth, being underground, and the feeling was just, there was no good feeling. It was I had to get more to just to take a breath.
Yeah.
There was nothing for me to look forward to. I couldn't even greet the day with the prayer and to say thank you. It was just all right here. And again, it's I believe in those two energies. There's energy in that light, and there's energy in that darkness, and we just need to
Amen.
look to the light
Yes, follow the light.
and ask
Follow the
for
light.
that. So yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Chairman. It's been a really beautiful experience. I hope that those of you watching, please like, share. Very thankful for tonight. I want to say prayers for those out in Pipestone. I want the runners and the things we all got going on there. I would like to our sun dancers that are out. Some are going up on hills. There's inipis going on. We have some very powerful moments going on, not just with those two events, but in the world. And I ask that, those who suffer just turn to light, say a prayer for those in need. I want to thank Scott Aldrink and the Lighthouse for always allowing us to have this, and then some, and helping our community, letting us come in, utilize the building and share their words and passion to keep us moving forward for our communities and for those who are suffering or those who are in the dark right now, please reach out. We have, certain individuals that if you feel comfortable, there is hope. I want to thank all of our speakers. And if any of you are looking to speak, come on to the show. I mean, I even got the chairman here. I'm so proud of myself. Like it's such a beautiful moment. I'm thankful for his sharing, and it's just a reminder that we are all the same, and you're not alone. Thank you all for this evening. Please like and please share, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Oh, Peter.